Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Donald Trump has played down the possibility of a US war with Venezuela, but suggested Nicolas Maduro's days as the country's president are numbered. His comments come as the US continues to launch strikes on alleged drug smuggling boats in the Caribbean. The Trump administration says the strikes are necessary to stem the flow of drugs into the US. Trump rejected suggestions that the US action was not about stopping narcotics, but aiming at ousting Maduro, a longtime Trump opponent, saying it was about many things. At least 64 people have been killed by US strikes in the Caribbean and Eastern Pacific since early September. At least 20 people have died after an earthquake struck northern Afghanistan, with the toll expected to rise as rescue efforts continue. Hundreds have been left injured. The earthquake struck near Mazar-e-Sharif, one of the country's largest cities that is home to around 500,000 people. It had a magnitude of 6.3 and a depth of 28 kilometers, according to the US Geological Survey, and was marked at the orange alert level, which indicates significant casualties are likely. The former top lawyer in the Israeli military has been arrested as a political showdown deepens over the leaking of a video that allegedly shows severe abuse of a Palestinian detainee by Israeli soldiers. Major General Yifat Tomer Yerushalmi resigned as the military advocate general of the Israeli Defense Forces last week, saying she took full responsibility. The footage shows reserve soldiers at a military base in southern Israel taking aside a detainee, then surrounding him with riot shields to block visibility, while he was allegedly beaten and stabbed with a sharp object. The detainee was subsequently treated for severe injuries. 5 days after Hurricane Melissa pummeled into western Jamaica with record force, residents in the devastated communities along the coast are still desperately waiting for aid. Many of the roads are blocked by debris and people are isolated with little food, no power or running water, and no idea of when normalcy will return. The government said on Saturday that at least 28 people had died since the hurricane hit Jamaica as a monster Category 5 storm with 185 miles per hour winds. The sole survivor of the Air India plane crash, which killed 241 people on board, has said he feels like the luckiest man alive, but is also suffering physically and mentally. Vishwas Kumar Ramesh said it was a miracle he escaped, but told how he had lost everything, as his younger brother AJ was a few seats away on the flight and died in the crash in June. Since returning to his home in Leicester, Mr. Ramesh has struggled with post-traumatic stress disorder. Shocking video shared at the time showed Mr. Ramesh walking away from the aftermath with seemingly superficial injuries as smoke billowed in the background.
What uni life, but take all my happiness in my family. It's completely broke down my family after that crash. Yeah. It's a very difficult time for me and my family.
The president of Spain's Valencia region, Carlos Mazón, has resigned after months of pressure over his handling of flash floods last year. A total of 229 people died in towns in the Valencia region on the 29th of October last year, with a further 8 dying in neighbouring regions in Spain's worst natural disaster for decades. Many in Valencia blamed Mazón for the scale of the tragedy because of how he and his government responded that day. It emerged that the regional president had spent nearly 4 hours in a restaurant with a journalist while the floodwaters were wreaking havoc, and he did not attend emergency meetings during much of the day. Tanzania's President Samia Suluhu Hassan has been sworn in for a second term amid tight security following an election marred by violent protests and rejected by the opposition as a sham. The inauguration ceremony is being held at a military parade ground in the capital, Dodoma, instead of a stadium as in previous years. It is closed to the public but is being shown live on state TV. Samia was declared the winner on Saturday with 98% of the vote. She faced little opposition, with key rival candidates either imprisoned or barred from running. And CCTV footage has shown the dramatic moment a train crashed into a truck at a level crossing in the Netherlands. The vehicle can be seen manoeuvring forwards and backwards on the railway line before the barriers descend. It is then hit at high speed. 5 people sustained minor injuries, but nobody was seriously hurt in the incident, according to the train operator. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel Studios in Lagos.